Let's face it, we've all seen how bad it is to bring dinosaurs back to life, put them on an island, build a theme park around them, and ignore the wise words of Jeff Goldblum. Yet, given the chance, surely all of us would love to go to a giant theme park filled with Jurassic creatures. The latest film in the Jurassic Park series, Jurassic World, came out this week, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's filled with some really brilliant and interesting science. But is the science in it possible? Is it real? Or is that science just a big pile of Stegosaurus poo? The main theme of the Jurassic Park films are that scientists are trying to bring dinosaurs back to life. To do this, they try and find mosquitoes that are alive at the same time as the dinosaurs. Mosquitoes that might have sucked up dinosaur blood. These mosquitoes are stuck in amber, which is a hard resin that comes from trees. And this hard amber protects the mosquitoes and the dinosaur bloods that they sucked up. The scientists then take this dinosaur blood out of the mosquitoes, fill in any gaps in the DNA with some frog DNA, and then put this DNA into an egg. This egg then grows up to be a dinosaur. So that's how scientists in Jurassic Park films bring dinosaurs back to life. But is the science possible? Well, it's true that mosquitoes were alive at the same time as dinosaurs. In fact, they probably also sucked up their blood, just as they suck up our blood today. It's also true that many mosquitoes get stuck in amber. In fact, if you go online, you can actually buy mosquitoes stuck in amber for not that much money, so they are pretty common to be able to find. But it's at this point that the science in the Jurassic Park films begins to break down. You see, DNA, the fundamental building blocks of life, slowly breaks down and deteriorates over time. A recent study found that half of the bonds in DNA break every 500 years. This means that we have some dinosaur DNA. 500 years later, after the dinosaur had died, only half of the remaining DNA would be useful to us that we could use. 500 years later, we'd only have a quarter of the amount, and then an eighth, and then a 16th. We keep going on. 7 million years later, almost all the DNA from the dinosaur would be completely useless to us. We wouldn't be able to do anything with it. We definitely wouldn't be able to bring a dinosaur back to life with the remaining dino DNA. But the film explains that any damaged dinosaur DNA is replaced with DNA from a frog due to the similarities between dinosaurs and frogs. But sadly, this isn't even going to be possible, because most of the dinosaur DNA by this point would have been damaged, if not all of it. And also, although frogs and dinosaurs are relatively similar in their genetic makeup, they're not similar enough to be able to combine their DNA together easily. However, there are cases of scientists trying to bring more recent extinct animals back to life, such as the mammoth or the dodo. The woolly mammoth is a great example, because we have several cases where we found a woolly mammoth completely singly frozen in ice. Because it's in the ice, it's preserved really well, and we can extract its blood much better and get its DNA much easier. However, sadly, the same can't be said for dinosaurs, which are sadly now beyond the grasp of science. But bringing dinosaurs back to life just isn't cool enough for 2015. In the latest film Jurassic World, scientists are actually combining the DNA of multiple dinosaurs together to create some genetically modified super dinosaur. But is it possible to combine the DNA of two animals together to create a new one? Well, in real life, scientists do combine the DNA of multiple animals together. However, it's only very small amounts of DNA that they mix together. Not enough to build a whole new animal like they did in Jurassic World. But it's not just as simple as combining the two sets of DNA together. Not all combinations will be accepted or even useful, so a lot of work will have to be done to find out which combinations work and which ones don't. Of course, this all depends on getting the dinosaur DNA in the first place, which we now know is impossible because DNA breaks down over time. However, this science is really interesting and does seem a lot more solid than some of the science in the previous films. So creating dinosaurs just isn't going to work. But what about the rest of the science in the movie? Well, the dinosaurs always look real and seem to move how you'd imagine a dinosaur would move. But there's one really interesting bit of science discovered in recent years which hasn't quite made its way into the film. Believe it or not, we think that dinosaurs might be covered in feathers. There's been a lot of fossils found which seem to suggest that dinosaurs were covered in feathers. Even some of the more scary animals, such as velociraptors, may have been fully covered in feathers. Dinosaurs definitely don't seem as scary when they imagine them covered in feathers. And this is probably the reason why the Jurassic Park films fail to have any feathery dinos. We're not even sure why dinosaurs were actually covered in feathers. Perhaps they were used to help them run faster, perhaps just some kind of way of attracting a mate better. Whatever the reason, why ever dinosaurs had feathers, to try and make them scary in the films, it's probably better the Jurassic Park films didn't have any dinosaurs covered in feathers. Finally, we come to the T-Rex. It's fantastic and scary. But did you know that recent research has found that if a T-Rex fell over, it probably wouldn't be able to get back up again? Now this is because the size proportion of a T-Rex's body, its large head, combined with its really small arms, would have made it almost impossible for a T-Rex to be able to stand back up if it ever fell over. Of course, in the films it would have made it a lot easier if everyone could just knock the T-Rex over to be able to stop it from chasing them, which is probably the reason why they didn't include it in the latest Jurassic Park films. So the short lifetime of DNA probably means you're not going to be able to bring dinosaurs back to life. There won't be any Jurassic theme parks opening up soon. But some of the science in the film is really interesting. Although they exclude some little bits of science, in general it's really inspiring to see how scientists work and the ideas of genetics and DNA. So overall, I give a big thumbs up to Jurassic Park and their science. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, check out the rest of my channel for some other great scientific videos, including some other videos on films where I debunk the science in them. Leave a comment below, tell me what you thought about the Jurassic World film, what did you think about the science in it, or the Jurassic Park films in general. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all soon. Imagine a parallel universe where the greatest minds were sent to create the perfect world. A world without war, without hunger, without devastation, where you could build anything that you could imagine. Well, this is the plot of the latest Disney film Tomorrowland. But are jetpacks, androids and parallel worlds really possible? Well, let's take a look at the science behind the film Tomorrowland.